Brandon Fellows is a J6er who has now been hanging out with the Freedom Corner protest. We know from history that ends poorly for every J6er that does it. We've had the corner used against them in court, probation violations. It is not a good time for J6ers to get involved with them. But then he's also been involved with the Omen of Chaos, Corinne, which is why this video that should be super short might take a few minutes longer, because there's a whole new revelation involving her and her recording evidence that might be used against him. All right, that being said, he has a minute order to Brandon Fellows. The court grants the 191 probation petition and concurs with the recommendation of the probation office to issue a summons and schedule a hearing to address the requested modifications. This was done on June 28th. Now, what has happened that caused this? He went to the Fauci hearing and he made faces. And he says in an interview with Corinne that he thought your first outburst, your vocal outburst, you would just get a warning. So as he was leaving, from my understanding, he said that under that belief, he had an outburst and an officer put his hand on his back, not like restrained him or anything, but like, like move him out type deal, make sure he can't go backwards. And Brandon Fellows is saying that the probation office says he was removed not only from the hearing, but from the building itself. He denies being removed from the building, forced to be leaving the building. So with that being said, Brandon Fellows says that for his hearing, he's asking for letters in his defense, and he's going to wear a kangaroo sweatshirt, even though that might get him contempt. Now, that alone would be a short video, but she got him to still talk, and he talked about how he got in trouble at some point for going to church and then going to a store next door to buy a banana and then following a shoplifter and calling the police and informing, that, hey, I had contact with the police due to this. And then he got told, you don't have permission to go to the store and buy a banana. You don't have permission to follow shoplifters. You just had permission to go to church. He mentions that story. And then we had the 4th of July. So Corinne uploaded some videos on the 4th of July of herself, and you know how she is. She's loud, screaming about, treasonous things, and she was very loud, and they're talking about the Supreme Court, and J6, and Trump, and at one point they record this couple next to them, and they start filming this couple. And then there's, of course, there's a cut. We don't have what happened in between, which is weird, because Corinne likes to film everything, but we do have some statements by Brandon Fellows, because he put this on Twitter. He says, as our other videos show, and especially this one, it's now being investigated as a hate crime, politically motivated hate crime in DC. Afterwards, a few feet away, we ran to the lead staffer for Matt Gaetz. And it is telling how backwards DC is. The manager is asking me to leave. So the manager asked Brandon Fellows to leave. After the leftist woman threw 2 drinks at my friend and then threw glass at me, shattering it on my leg and then screaming like that, I'm the one they asked to leave. Backwards. Now, this is where order of events gets really interesting, because Corinne puts out a video where things get physical, and I start to wonder if the physical part happened before or after a manager told him to leave, and the probation office will probably request security footage to find that out. But Brandon Fellows also put this out. Oh, and I believe in equal rights and left, so I gave his girlfriend a left after she thought she could hit me from behind her boyfriend and not face repercussions. He then tried to hit me for defending myself, and I slammed him on the ground and told him he better behave himself, and then he has a tongue out emoji. The lead up to my slamming this man, punching his leftist girlfriend after they attacked his journalist and myself, I have visited multiple people to celebrate the 4th, and what triggered the couple was the MAGA hat facing them on my bag and us discussing the Supreme Court decision. So, yeah, this what you're seeing behind me, this minute order, this is not involving the physical altercation yet. I'm sure they'll know about it by July 15th. Hey, he asked people to contact them, right? He also says he has a media interview now at 5, which he'll probably admit to more. He also says, LOL, I got to slam him, punch her, and police are now investigating them for a hate crime. I had everything to punch his girl, and I had every right to punch his girl and then slam him. Well, here's the thing, right? Are the police investigating it as a hate crime, or are they telling you they are to get your cooperation to then maybe... Some people don't know the police can lie to them. Let's put it that way. He also says, "LOL, you're retarded. I slammed his leftist ass on the ground and talked to him like an out of control child. I told him he needed to behave himself and be calmed down before I really hurt him." So he made some threats. "Once I calmed him down, I let him go. You can get some too if you try the same game." So he is threatening someone on a woman on Twitter right there, by the way, that protests the corner. So now we have a direct threat directly towards one of the protesters. That's okay. Now he does say here that the man got 2 weak punches on me. I moved towards him while I placing my bag on the ground in preparation for a takedown. Once the bag was down, yeah, I get the feeling that even if he might have been able to, this is my personal opinion, if he might have been able to get away with it, you know, maybe saying, you know, self-defense or whatever, everything he posts sounds like he was trying to instigate. Everything. Like he was trying to start something. Like this was his plan. And he might just talk himself into it being used against him at this hearing. He's still talking. He's still doing interviews. And the thing is, he brags about all the stuff he does, right? Like he wore a shirt of his own face that he made on national TV at the hearing that's now getting him the hearing on the 15th, right? Like he wore that as a shirt. So if he tries to claim he has some sort of regret or anything like that, they can just load up that picture. He signed photos of himself in the hearing, then have auctioned to J6 supporters at home. That was that right there. I mean, they could say that it shows that, you know, he's loving the attention. He's probably going to do more things, more outbursts. Hey, look at this July 4th things. Like, I don't think they're going for revocation, because it says modifications. Maybe they'll change that to like try to revoke. But he could end up on some pretty strict, you know, maybe an ankle monitor, not allowed to leave his home, things like that. Which he claims he lives in DC. But yeah, there's a lot on there. You can check Corinne's Twitter. She is uploading videos. Brandon Fellows is putting out tweets. He can't stop himself. And he's probably going to tell more and more at the corner. I don't think the letters are going to help. I really don't think letters are going to help. But they do. They do. Yeah. I thought this would be a shorter video, but I mean, as soon as you see, like, as soon as I saw, you know, hey, he's gonna have this hearing, and I'll mention it, you know, because he's talking about wearing the kangaroo sweatshirt, because in case he gets contempt, because he thinks he might get contempt for that. And then Corinne, Omen of Chaos, and things are spiraling. They always spiral. Last time someone hung out with her that I can think of willingly was during 1776. They ended up in a rap battle with Groypers that they lost, and then when they returned to 1776, they were no longer welcome. So we'll see how it goes this time.